we know what's going down this Saturday. David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. And I'm excited for this fight. Dean.O, I hinted at it earlier on the show, in the intro. I don't think this fight is being talked about enough. Everybody's talking about the Ryan Garcia and Tank fight, which, for good reasoning. They big draws. But if you talk about fight, like actual, this could be a very exciting, explosive fight. I think this one rings the bell for me. And I would love to start it off first, and then I'll pass it to whoever wants it. I have the utmost respect for both of these fighters because they got it on. You look around the middleweight division, start off with Canelo. With all due respect to Canelo, we know he is that guy, but I'm not always a big fan of just his priorities. I think he focuses on taking over other territories instead of taking over his territory here. He moved up to take over Bivol's territory. He got shot back down, beat up on an old Triple G. Now he want to go back up and conquer Bivol's territory. You look at Jamal Charlo. Crickets, where are you now? Nowhere to be found. Talking all that yin yang yo on social media, nowhere to be found. Demetrius Andrade, I can't put the blame on him, but he don't get big fights. There's not a lot of guys that really are stepping up to the plate in the middleweight division. Triple G, he waited a whole 2 years before he fought some Japanese kid, and he could afford a big fight. He's a big name. He didn't fight a Charlo or an Andrade or a Benavidez. He don't want no smoke with them. So I'm looking around. I'm like, yo, what's going on? But credit to both Plant and Benavidez saying, you know what? I'm trying to be the best in this division. And they got it on. Now, to me, this fight is very interesting because of the contrasting styles of both fighters. And I wrote down my little tail of the tape here, right? You talk about the differences. First of all, Plant has excellent footwork, very elusive. Benavidez, he can cut off the ring. Benavidez is a volume puncher, but Plant can outbox you for 12 rounds. Plant starts to have stamina issues in the second half of the fight. Benavidez, that's where he picks it up and tends to get you out of there. These fighters hate each other, but the one thing they have in common was that they have the same goals, and they needed to make this fight happen, and that's why it's happening. Plant, he wants that rematch with Canelo. The only way he's going to get that rematch with Canelo is if he beats Benavidez. Benavidez, he's been chasing big fights for a long time, and nobody wants to step up to the plate, and now he has an opportunity to beat a guy like Caleb Plant and put himself in a predicament to fight Canelo in the future. That's if Canelo, deems him as a logical fight. With that being said, if I had to give you my predictions, I think it's going to be a very, 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 very interesting fight. Like I keep on saying, because it is. I can see this fight going two ways. I can see it being a very exciting, explosive fight that ends in a knockout. I can see it being a boring fight, which ends in Plant just outboxing and outclassing David Benavidez for 12 rounds. And I think we're going to get a little bit of both in my analysis here. We're going to get a little bit of the boringness and the explosiveness. I believe in the first 5 rounds, Caleb Plant will dominate David Benavidez to the point where he's up on the cards 4 rounds to 1 because he's a better boxer. He wants to fight in the center of the ring. He knows better to stay off the ropes with a guy like David Benavidez who wants you on the ropes. And I think after round 5, when everybody's like, oh, David Benavidez, you're not the Mexican monster, in the late rounds, we're going to find out who that Mexican monster is. And I think it's going to be a stretch from round 6 to round 9 of just the output, the philosophy, the long reach of David Benavidez, too much to handle. Okay, listen, we all know Caleb Plant broke down eventually. He fought a good fight against Canelo, but he broke down. The power add up. David Benavidez is longer. He has a longer reach than Canelo. He's going to be able to cut off the ring at some point. And when he does, I think he's going to pack up Caleb Plant in round 9. I'm going David Benavidez to win this fight.
I'll go. I think, this is gonna be a very close fight. I think the styles is gonna match. I think Benavidez is going for more of the flashy knockout. He's gonna try to take this guy's head off as much as he can. I think Caleb Plant learned a lot from that Canelo battle. I think he knows. I think he's gonna be a little bit more strategic when it comes to fighting a Benavidez who's really trying to prove he's the dominant fighter that he wants it all. Like he's the guy that people need to run away from. And I think, Caleb Plant is wary of it, and he's gonna draw him in a lot and win with points. I think he's gonna go to decision. I think Caleb Plant's gonna take that with decision win, just based off strategic strategy, just being smarter as a smarter fighter, drawing in Benavidez, making sure that he tries to throw more volume, like Benavidez tries to throw more volume, but misses a lot more. And I think that they go to that decision. I don't think Caleb Plant, by any means, is going to try to knock him out. I think Plant kind of has Benavidez in his pocket, in a sense. I think Benavidez is like is overzealous, I would say, when picking his strategy, trying to pick apart his opponents. And I think when you go to fighters who are trying to prove they could punch with you, it would work. But I think Plant knows, like, I'm not going to try to outpunch this dude because that leaves me open for getting knocked out, And so I think he's going to just play strategic, hit the jabs. There's going to be a lot of jabs thrown in this fight, and I think Plant's going to over jab him a lot early. Like the first 6 rounds will be a lot of early jabs, just kind of drawing him in, making sure that he see what he has, just keep pulling him in. But I think Plant, for me, is going to win by decision. I think Benavidez, like I said, I think he's an outstanding talent, but I don't see Plant getting caught with one of those very, I'm not going to call it sloppy, but it doesn't look as precise, those hooks that Benavidez throws. It's not, those are not with precision. He kind of throws them with power, just like, I'm trying to get you out of here. Like, how Deontay Wilder throws hooks, just overthrowing, a lot of overthrown hooks. So in my opinion,
But he's accurate though. Like the difference with
I
Wilder,
those punches, they land, but it's not precision based. It's more like, I'm trying to take you out of here. Like so he throws them and it connects.
I disagree. I think Wilder's more of the I'm gonna try to knock you out. Like I'm a knockout artist. So I know fans come to see that. I'm trying to deliver that. Benavidez, he's more volume and he's accurate. He throws a lot, but it's accurate. He's very accurate on his power punches, and I think that's gonna cause for a Plant to quit on the stool. I don't really think it's a knockout. Correction, y'all. I don't think he's gonna get flat out knocked out, but I think he's gonna quit on the stool after round 9. But go ahead, Dean.O.
Wow, Plant quitting on the stool in round 9. That's a bold prediction, Mr. Leel. Oh man, I do agree with you in terms of the output of the fight. I think it's going to be very similar to what you said, in the sense that Caleb Plant's going to dominate early, first 5 rounds, and then I think Benavidez is going to come back like 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, okay, now we got to fight. But I believe that Caleb Plant's going to weather the storm because, like Zay said, of what he learned from the Canelo fight, because that was his only loss. And he definitely took away things, because look how he fought Anthony Durrell. He went for the knockout, knocked out Anthony Durrell. That could happen with David Benavidez, but I think that because they're so similar and both want similar goals, I feel like it's going to go to a decision, and I think Caleb Plant's going to win it 116 to 112. You're hearing it right now. Majority of the judges are going to be unanimous decision, 116, 112 for Caleb Plant. And I think he's going to weather the storm late rounds. I think he's going to get a few late round decisions. I think he's going to win the fight. I got to go Caleb Plant on this one. I think Benavidez is going to take the loss. But I think Benavidez will learn from it. I think it'll make him a better fighter as well.
I think for me, the biggest questions that I have for both fighters, Dean.O, you said it perfectly. So you already answered the question from your perspective on my end about when you talk about Caleb Plant, can he weather the storm? That's something he couldn't do in the Canelo fight. He was doing a very good job moving, utilizing the ring to his advantage. I believe the ring is a bigger ring in this fight, so he's going to have the ability to move around and use a lot of lateral movement and outbox, David Benavidez. But eventually, Canelo, the power shots wore him down. And with all that movement, you're getting tired. You're going to get fatigued. If there's anybody who's getting fatigued, yeah, you could say Benavidez because he's chasing him, but it's going to fatigue Caleb Plant as well. Even though his defense is going to fatigue his offense. And I think when Benavidez get there, because he will get there, you cannot move and run around for 12 rounds. He's going to get there. He's so long and tall. He's taller than Canelo. He's longer than Canelo. He will get there. If Canelo can get there, he will get there. The question is, can he override that storm and weather that storm? That's my question for him. And for Benavidez is, number one, can he keep his emotions in check? Clear, there's a disconnect here. These guys do not like each other. Can he check his emotions at the door? And I said it before, Zay, when we did that press conference thing. the Mexican Monster label that Mike Tyson gave him is either going to be a gift or a curse, because he's going to probably think he can just knock anybody out. I mean, think about it. Jamal Charlo and him, they had their face off in the crowd at a fight. Charlo ran behind a security guard. Did not want no parts of Benavidez in live action right there. Plant, in the press conference, David Benavidez stood up. Where was Caleb Plant? He sat down. So he knows that he's the boogeyman. He knows that he's the monster. But is that name going to be a curse that Mike Tyson gave him, or it could play into his advantage? And I think it will play to his advantage come Saturday night.
You know, I think it's going to be an explosive fight. I can't wait to see it. I'm kind of like anxious already because I'm so hyped up to see this fight on Saturday. I just don't know, man. I just think when you fight a Canelo, you know, that's experience that Benavidez doesn't have. That level of fighter in Canelo that Caleb Plant has, and Caleb Plant didn't look disastrous that entire fight. You know, he didn't look horrible that entire fight. He actually looked like he was standing his own two ground until later in the rounds as Canelo started little by little picking him apart. And I think Benavidez he's in a that's what Benavidez lacks, is that experience against that level of fighter. I think Plant having that and then now fighting Benavidez, this will be the telling tale if Benavidez is on Canelo's level, really, because Plant is going to be like, I experienced this. Let's see what Benavidez brings, because I've already seen what a monster looks like. So let's see if this is truly the boogeyman or just a little sweater in the closet.
I got a question, and salute to my guy Dujane Bland. What's good, my brother? I think before I get to my question, I have a comment, then question, follow up behind that. I think Caleb Plant does have underrated pop. We saw that when he fought Anthony Durrell. I think he has underrated pop. A lot of people talk about his power or lack thereof. I think he has underrated pop. He can time you well. Two questions. One, I already kind of like know the answer, but I don't know. These two fighters got to fight. Do we see a world where David Benavidez is getting knocked out, get caught with a shot he doesn't see? That's question number one. And I'll let y'all answer that before I ask question number two. So do we think there's a world where David Benavidez will get knocked out in this fight?
I absolutely think so. I think he can get knocked out in the 10th round, late in the fight. I think Caleb Plant, I think he's going to turn it up late in the fight. I think he's going to snag a few rounds, and he can get caught. I mean, that body hook, slip, hook to the head combo that he threw on Anthony Durrell is absolutely nasty. I didn't even see that like in real time. I saw it, but I didn't see it. I was like, what did he get hit with? And I just saw Caleb Plant walking around the ring. I was like, that was absolutely filthy. Like, that was a nasty combo. So I don't think maybe exactly he'll get hit with that, but I could see him getting hit with something that maybe knocks him out, knocks him down, where David Benavidez is like, oh my God, like, what was that? You know, I could definitely see him getting caught with something, because in the terms of magnitudes of fights, who is David Benavidez gone up against in terms of that magnitude, where Caleb Plant's gone up against Canelo? So it's like, who of that magnitude is David Benavidez going up against? So I don't know. Caleb Plant, he learned, like, oh shoot, Canelo's got power, got knocked out from it, and I think he's going to learn something from it. I think he could knock him out. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think there's a possibility.
I'll say around round 7, where Benavidez is starting to heat up. When he gets that confidence, I'm throwing nothing but pure combos at Plant. He's going to get cocky and get hit with a counter from Plant, because Plant is an underrated counter puncher, in my opinion. I think when you watch his tapes, he has a lot of counter punches that's like, oh, wait, where did he bring that one from? And we saw a couple of those punches against Canelo where Canelo seemed unfazed by him, where he had a couple counters where Canelo was kind of drawing back, like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me slow it down a little bit. I think he's going to catch Benavidez with one of those in the 7th round and knock him down. And I think that's where it's going to, like, the momentum's going to shift again towards Plant. I think Plant, like I said early on, is going to be like the Plant show. Then Benavidez cooks up, and then he gets hit with a ultimate momentum stopper. It's like, oh shit. Now it's going to be like something different as the fights go on. So I think for me, he could. It's a possibility. It's also a possibility Benavidez takes him out in the first. That's why this fight is so great, because so much can happen in this fight, because both of these fighters have an insurmountable amount of talent as boxers. It's just one has a little bit more experience than the other when fighting against an elite talent. So we have to see if this experience is going to get into play, or is it going to be a deer in the headlights? It's going to be very interesting. I'm excited, to say the least, to watch this fight on Saturday.
I think for me, I would be shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be shocked if I see David Benavidez on a mat laid out. I'm just keeping it a bean. Like, I just don't see that. I really don't. I'll be shocked. Even though I understand, like I said, Plant has underrated pop. I'll be shocked if David Benavidez is on the mat and that's how he lose. I'll be hella shocked. I'm not even gonna lie about that. I'll come on the show Monday with my mouth wide open, just shocked, my jaw dropped. But I think for me, I have one more question, and then I'm done with my questions, and then we could have final closeout remarks. All right, so I saw an interview a couple of days ago on Fight Hub TV. They interviewed Canelo. Salute to Fight Hub. I actually saw some of the people that work with Fight Hub before. They're a cool dude, so give them a shout out or a follow on YouTube, right? And subscribe. And they interviewed Canelo Alvarez, right? And they asked Canelo, would he be interested in fighting David Benavidez, which was, a very good question. It was like a heroic question. Nobody want to ask Canelo about Benavidez. Everybody's scared to. Me, that's why you need me in media, because I asked him that. When you fighting Benavidez, straight up, I don't hold no punches. We don't got time to waste here. It's 2023. You want to see the biggest fights. So I'm glad that my guy asked him that. I didn't really see the interest there in Canelo, just going off of body language and remarks. So my question, I guess I would say to y'all, and Zay, I start out with you and then Dean.O, by all means. I'm not sure if I'm going to see David Benavidez and and Canelo anytime soon. The reason why I say so is because right now, according to Canelo, he's supposed to fight John Ryder. That's the next fight with him. And he wants to get that Bivol rematch after that fight. Now, let's say he beats John Ryder for good intensive purposes. Let's say he loses to Bivol again, which is definitely realistic. Do we see him fighting David Benavidez off a loss? Because I don't. We saw it when he fought Bivol the last time. Who did he fight after that? I'm going to pick on an old 40-year-old Triple G. Give me that W. And then, another John Ryder and then Bivol again. Do we realistically see, Caleb Plant, excuse me, why I keep saying Caleb Plant, Canelo Alvarez fighting David Benavidez soon? Because I don't. But, Zay, I start up with you.
I don't think so. Oh, actually, lies. I believe he will fight David Benavidez if he loses the Plant. Because if he loses the Plant, then he will have tape on Benavidez to go off of to fight how to fight him. I think Canelo doesn't fight guys who don't have a clear blueprint, to beat him. I think when he looks at Benavidez, he's like, damn, this guy's good at everything. I can't defeat him. But if Caleb Plant stifles him, if he takes him down, even knocks him down, let's say Caleb Plant loses the fight, but Benavidez doesn't have a great showing. It doesn't look like he's good at it. Like, he doesn't look good at his performance. That's when Canelo will be like, all right, yeah, I'll fight Benavidez now. Because now I see the chink in your armor. Now I have something to pick apart and something I got attack. Everyone knows boxers have different game plans for each fight. But it's a lot of boxers have tendencies in each and every fight. Canelo fought Triple G well past his prime, but he saw the chinks in his armor. Because Triple G has so many fights. He saw where he lacked, and that was defense. So Canelo could pick that apart. But Canelo only fights guys he knows he could pick apart. And if Benavidez has something he hasn't shown yet, was his weaknesses, he could show that against Plant. And that's when Canelo will come out the woodworks. Forget the Bivol fight. I'll take Benavidez my next fight. Like, I don't care about Bivol no more. And that's when you'll start to see the opportunist has arrived.
I do have to disagree with that in the sense that I do believe that Canelo wants to avenge his loss against Bivol. I think he wants to do it at the end of the year. I think he's taking this Ryder fight, back in Mexico. He's coming back to his home. He's going to have a big audience, going to be big crowd, big atmosphere. And I think he's going to get the dub. And I think he's going to go right after Bivol, end of the year. He's going to want Bivol in September, October, November, around that time frame. And I do also disagree in the sense that, yes, he did see the chinks in Triple G's armor this time. But the first two times, those were his two statement fights. Everyone wanted to see for all right, Golovkin and Canelo. They wanted to see this. And they got it. And, I think Golovkin won the first fight. All objectivity is out there. I think Golovkin won the first one. But I think Canelo won the second one. And I think those were fights that it was like, okay, Canelo's got to get in there. Golovkin's got to get in there. They got to fight each other. This is a big statement fight for their legacies and their resumes. And they both we know how history ended. The draw and then the 2 wins for Canelo. But like Zay said, it was a Triple G's armor was going down. He's 40 years old. The third time, it was long overdue, the trilogy. But I think the first 2 fights were well on time. I thought the Bivol fight was well on time in the sense that, he's moving up to light heavyweight. He already was at light heavyweight when he fought Kovalev, but Kovalev was older. He was kind of on the way out. So I thought the Bivol fight was good timing for Canelo, and he lost. Bivol, he handily beat him. He dominated the fight because Canelo Bivol knew that Canelo didn't fear his jab. He was just jabbing Canelo, jab, jab, jab. And Canelo didn't really use his jab back. So it was just a poorly executed game plan for Canelo. And I thought that was a well-on-time fight. However, I do not think if David Benavidez loses, I think it's going to be even more reason for Canelo to not fight him because it's like, hey, I knocked out Caleb Plant. You just lost to him. Why would I fight you? Because that's what remember when Andrade came into the press conference after the Billy Joe fight? He was like, who we fought, Andrade? Who we fought? And it's like Canelo wants to see you put people on your resume, I believe. Because if we're going off of that basis, the resumes of Andrade and Benavidez aren't as great as Caleb Plant's resume. So I don't think he would even fight Caleb Plant again in the fall. I think he would even let Caleb Plant get some more time. But Caleb Plant's doing the right thing for his resume if he wins these fights because it's like, hey, look who I'm beating. I'm beating these dudes who are trying to call you out. I'm doing my thing. So I think we'll get, if Canelo beats Ryder, I think we will get Canelo Bivol at the end of the year. And I think we're going to have to wait to see him fight David Benavidez for probably quite some time.
You know what I'm thinking? I agree with Zay. I do think that there's a level of, I'm going to just call a spade, cherry picking when it comes to Canelo Alvarez and certain styles. Like the Mayweather styles he wants to avoid based on my track record. I'm talking about the style where you can move around and box and he can't really close the distance. He likes to stay away from those type of fights. Triple G wasn't, obviously Triple G at the time packed a heavy punch. Clear, he was knocking guys out, but he didn't offer that skill set. Bivol, he didn't offer that skill set. Bivol, obviously, his timing speaks volume, but he didn't offer that. I think Demetrius Andrade offers that challenge for Canelo. Remember, they offered Canelo $45 million to fight Andrade. No show. Vacated the belt. Somebody else got the belt. He went up and fought that dude. Also, Charlo. He didn't fought Charlo yet. He presents that Mayweather style. So I think there is a level of cherry picking when it comes to Canelo. Even though you could say he moved up to fight Bivol, nobody knew who Bivol was when he moved up to fight Bivol. Let's be real, unless you really follow boxing like that. And he didn't even look that great in some of the fights that he had. He looked like a regular average Joe, right? It wasn't nothing special. And obviously, he went up to fight him. Everybody picked him to win, right? Nobody picked Bivol to win that fight, right? And he lost. So I do think it's a little cherry picking. But my last question, and after this, I'm done, and we out of here, is who needs this fight more? Caleb Plant or David Benavidez? And why? Who needs to win this fight? Who needs to be victorious?
I think if you're talking about a guy who's trying to take over a division, I would say Benavidez needs this fight more than Plant. I think, Caleb Plant, we all knew what he was going up against Canelo. No, I don't think anyone anticipated Plant to give Canelo that real pressure. That, oh, Caleb Plant's here, he's taking a division, he's no one expected that. But Benavidez's name for probably you could say the better part of a year or two, his name has been brought up against Canelo, and Canelo has been very quiet, very evasive. Yeah, whatever, this and the third. When guys want to fight each other, or they see someone as a threat, they acknowledge it. They don't acknowledge them. When guys don't see you as a threat, they'll acknowledge you. Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia have been going back and forth for years. They've been wanting to fight each other. Devin Haney, Garcia going at each other for years. Devin Haney, Tank, they want to go at each other for years. But Canelo has been made it his mission to just avoid Benavidez for whatever reason. Whatever his reasons are, he avoids certain fighters because it's something about them that he doesn't see to his advantage. Something about them that he's like, I don't want any real problems with him. And I think Benavidez right now has the opportunity to be like, yo, listen, the man is here. The man who's about to, the best fighter in the division is here. And a definitive win against Plant is beneficial to his career than a decision, than a loss to Plant. I think right now Benavidez is in a position he needs this fight more than Plant due to the fact he wants to take over the division. He wants to be the champion. And a win against Plant gives him that. A Plant would beat Benavidez. I mean, it's cool, but it just makes Plant look like the gatekeeper because we already know Plant can't beat Canelo. It wasn't like there was a fight where Plant and Canelo were going back and forth and it was close. Canelo, it was a decisive win by Canelo. And if they fight again, are you going to say, oh, Plant got him this time? I don't think so. I don't think Plant and Canelo, if they fight again, I don't see him beating Canelo. Rather by decision or knockout, I don't see him beating Canelo because I just think Canelo will have his number regardless. That's how I see it. Is it true? I don't know. But I think for me, Benavidez is more needing of this fight because he wants that division badly. He's been calling out everybody to get this division, from the Charlos to everybody he's called out to get this division. So I think that's something that he really wants, and I think that's why he needs to fight.
I agree with half of Zay's take. I think that Benavidez does need this a lot more for what he wants to do and to up his stock against all the other fighters. I do agree with that, but I have to disagree in the sense that I don't believe that Caleb Plant is necessarily a gatekeeper. I think Caleb Plant's definitely a very talented fighter, and he can win belts again at super middleweight, and he can definitely give Canelo a run for his money again. But I think that Benavidez does need this one specifically more because it's going to open up more doors for him now because it's like, hey, like I just beat the former super middleweight champion of the world who just lost his belt last year, and I think that it will mean a lot more for David if he gets the dub in this one, whether it's by decision or by knockout. As if it's decisive. If it's like close, people will be like, and they'll use that as a reason to not fight him. But I think he's got to decisively beat Caleb Plant in order to really open up more avenues for him and get those bigger payday fights and those bigger name fights.
That was some valid points, Dino, at the end. I think for me, I'm going to word it like this. I think David Benavidez has more to gain, but I think Caleb Plant has more to lose.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And that's why I'm going to go Caleb Plant needs it more. Because even though David Benavidez has more to gain, he wins this fight by knockout. Now he's a pay-per-view king, possibly. Like, one of the pay-per-view guys that everybody knows about. Oh, you just beat Caleb Plant. Now I'm rocking with you. It could potentially open up that Canelo fight down the line. But I think you look at the age, he's 26 years old. So it's not the end of the world. Like, yes, he's been avoided, but it's not the end of the world. Plant, he's 30 years old. He would have lost to Canelo and David Benavidez. Now he's officially a gatekeeper now. If you lose to Benavidez, first of all, who knows if you get another fight with David Benavidez, he may be trying to move up, to 175 and fight, the Better Beebs and Dmitry Bivol, who he sparred before. He may be moving up soon. And I think there's another avenue for David Benavidez. If nobody wants to fight him here, he can always move up and fight one of those guys. So I think for me, if you're playing, you need this fight because you will have lost to two of the best in the division. Now you are officially a gatekeeper. And if you're David Benavidez, even if you win this fight, as I stated before, you're not guaranteed the Canelo fight anytime soon because he's fighting John Ryder. He might be fighting Bivol after that. Let's see if he has time for you in the future. So that's why I'm going to leave it at that. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to go down Saturday, man. Make sure you tune in on Saturday to this fight. It's going to be a very, very good fight. I can assure you of that.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.